It's been another week in racing, it's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last thoughts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense, so ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is The Magic Mike Show, episode 383. Mr. Somich, happy birthday. I beat you to it.
Thank you. Thank you. But I got to give it a frustrated huzzah. It's just, this weekend was brutal, man. It was probably one of the three most frustrating horse racing weekends for me in the last couple of years. So it was rough. Right about fading Hot Rod Charlie. 4 out of 5s, 5 out of 6s, 3 out of 4s galore, and just couldn't get anything home. But what can you do? What can you do? Welcome to the world of horse racing.
Yeah, no kidding, right? It was an interesting weekend. You were correct about Hot Rod Charlie losing to Mind Control. That's the second time Mind Control's won a dirt mile when the horse there's one horse that should have won and didn't for whatever reason, and Mind Control beat him, but you were right about that. It was a frustrating day, but you know what's not frustrating, Mike? We've got Canterbury Park back. It's always a good time. Canterbury Park, the late pick 5, yeah, Alex is excited about it. I got messages about it like this morning when I first woke up. Hey, Canterbury, you guys doing Canterbury? Yes, we're going to do Canterbury today. Happy late Father's Day to you and to all the dads out there as well.
You as well, man. Anytime we can go somewhere and you put the takeout on 2 hands, it's a good thing, right? The Canterbury 10, baby. Let's go. I like it.
Well, let's get into it, buddy. We've got the late pick 5 at Canterbury Park with 3 awesome turf stakes, and then good luck in the last 2 riders up. Nick Feldman in the chat saying he had 4 top pick winners in the late pick 5 at Belmont Sunday and got beat by a 40-1. Would have hit it for $5. That's rough.
Yeah, it was like all weekend. I feel your pain, Nick. I had a $10 pick 6 that hits on that double carryover Saturday. If the one horse, it's a stabled up horse, doesn't get bobbed at the line by that Wesley Ward, the 7 at 15-1. It was just all weekend. It was just shit like that. You're just like, really? This horse is the one that's going to get me? Come on.
Well, that's okay. We're going to move on. We've got better things to talk about. Canterbury Park on Wednesday, June 22nd. This is the Northern Stars Racing Festival. This is one of their biggest nights of the year up at Canterbury Park. If you remember, when we did the Magic Mike Show last month, looking at Canterbury Park, it was preview night for this. The problem, Mike, we got a lot of rain, and the turf races got rained off, so we can't exactly use that form moving forward. But this first leg of the late pick 5 is the Lady Canterbury Stakes. We're going to give it a shot anyway. Full field of 12 older fillies and mares going a mile on the turf. Where are you going on top here, buddy?
Well, before I get on a top pick, can I just say, Canterbury, just mild suggestion. You got 5 stakes races. It's a late pick 5. Maybe put the 2 stakes races at the 4th and 5th on the card as the 9th and 10th. And
you can play the mid-card pick 5, which is races 4 through 8, and that's all stakes.
There is no mid-card pick 5.
Oh, well then
Suggestion
you have to make your own pick 5.
Have a mid-card pick 5.
Come on, Canterbury. We're trying to help you out here. Meet us halfway.
Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. Anyway, I'm going to go to the 8. Sorry, Naya. I love this last effort. Gam's Mission, Keeper of Time, Market Rumor, all 3 good horses in that race. This horse runs 4th. This is second off the layoff. We get the Factor back. We haven't talked enough about the Factor on this podcast in recent episodes. One of my favorite sires.
Yep.
I love the Factor. Factor stands for 17.5. When a son of the Factor sells for 320 and ends up in Brad Cox's barn, it usually means the horse is going to be pretty good. This one is not disappointed. 3 for 11 career, over $200,000 in earnings. Taking a step up here into stakes companies, but has fared well in these overnight stakes. Has a win here at Canterbury, 2 for 4 at the distance. I think it's all systems go here on the 8.
Yeah, this is my top pick as well. I thought you outlined it really well. I went 3D. Before we go further, I do want to just heads up. I battling the cold. If you remember last week's Magic Mike Show on my birthday, I was like, I got a cold. Hopefully I fight it off. It hit hard last night, so my energy level is still down low. So Mike's going to do his best to carry the load for both of us on his birthday. Nice present there, buddy. Listen, Saranya, however you want to say your name, I love her here. The slight concern, I would have gone maybe shorter here, maybe been more confident in her. That Keeneland allowance was great. I thought she had every chance to win it. So maybe it was the rust. I do like the Florent Giroux making the trip to Canterbury here. That kind of informed my picks for this race specifically. So, yeah, top pick there. Next up for me is the 2 Amalfi Princess at 9-2. We're both chucking the favorite, the 7. She can't sing at 5-2. So I'm using the next 2 horses up here. This is third off the bench, third start at age 4 for Mike Maker for Amalfi Princess. She should give her peak effort here. She tied her career best Bayard last out with a gutsy win. It was sprinting, but it was at Belmont Park. You know that was going to be a quality field. Maker's 29% with a pretty much $3 ROI going 2 sprints to a route, which is what she's doing here. So she seems primed. I love the inside draw here for her as well. Going 2 sprints to a route, she's going to have the speed, and the stamina is a little bit of a question mark. So saving ground on the inside, I think, is going to be key for her. And you have to remember, she missed winning on this day last year at this track by a neck to our top pick in this race. And Javier Castellano also making the trip to Canterbury. I don't even know when the last time was he was at Canterbury. Maybe he doesn't either, but he's here tonight to try and win with Amalfi Princess.
Everybody's going for the poker games, man. That Canterbury poker room was going to be bustling with these jockeys coming in for it. And by the way, yeah, we whiffed. I guess there's an all-turf stakes pick 5, and that's why they don't have a middle card pick 5. But it's races 3, 4, 6, 7. So like you had like I'm sorry, I didn't go that far back in the Canterbury form. I didn't do it. So that's whatever. We'll talk about that.
They couldn't even do that correctly though. They couldn't make those 5 races. Oh geez. Okay, sorry.
Because you put those in order. I did actually check. Is there an all stakes pick 5? I didn't realize we had to differentiate between all stakes and all turf stakes. Yeah. Anyway, that there's that too. So you can play that one. I don't know if it's 10%, but I do know it is an all stakes pick 5. I didn't use Amalfi Princess. Okay. I don't really like Amalfi Princess. And that last race came out of nowhere. I mean, you have like 2 races that back it up. One of them was the grade 3 Vermont and Keeneland. I don't really love that race. I don't think that number is completely accurate. The other one was on a yielding turf at Kentucky Downs, where this horse has run some of it, but that is the best race, right? And that one was kind of surprising as well, being used in that spot. I'm willing to let Amalfi Princess beat me here because I don't think Amalfi Princess gets the lead. I think you're going to see Amalfi Princess having to pass a couple of horses. I do think saving ground helps, but I'm going to let myself get beat by the 2 if that happens. My second pick was actually I'm going to go to the 5 horse, Nacino. Yeah. This one to me is just really interesting, and I'm going to go back to that Keeneland allowance race that we talked about. N3X allowances at Keeneland are wildly difficult. And then you look at that specific race. They went 24, 49, 114. So not that fast. What did they come in home in? 142 and 4. Okay? That means they went 28 seconds for the last 3/16 of a mile. That is last 2 furlongs, a quarter mile plus another 16. That is wickedly fast. They actually were 2 seconds over 12s and ran 12s for the entire race. So they went 10 lengths faster than you'd expect, or 2 full seconds faster than you'd expect to close there. It's the reason why the 8-horse Sanyara didn't win the race, because it's really hard to go wire to wire at Keeneland. It was hard the whole meet to do so, and she was up front. But the fact that Nisaro ran that well in that race and was able to actually close ground into that pace, because we did improve our position, and not only our position, but we picked up a length on Market Rumor and Gam's Mission as well. And then we go in and we run a scratched off the turf race. We talked about that race coming off the turf. Didn't run great. I think that actually is going to add value for this horse. Because if you go 2 back, the horse ran well. Go 3 back, the horse ran well. And this is just a horse that keeps improving and improving and improving. So I'm going to give Nacino a chance here at 12-1.
Yeah, love this as well. If you remember from the last time we did Canterbury Park, I kept bringing it up every time I used him. Harry Hernandez, one of the top jockeys in the country, wins-wise. You don't see his name unless you play Canterbury or Turfway Park or Tampa or the smaller tracks, but the guy just wins. And what that tells me, Mike, is when he goes to different tracks and is consistently winning, is that the best trainers know that this guy can, from the colony, can ride. So 5 of their last, he and the trainer Silva, 5 of their last 8 mounts together were wins. Love this one. Scratch out that mud effort. I think that we both liked Nice No in that race when it got rained off as well.
Yep. So now we got Nice No going back here. I like Nacino better, but we'll call it Nice No because that's probably how you actually pronounce it. So I like Nice No in this spot too. I went 3 deep as well, except I went to your speed. Look, Canterbury often is the home of the wire job. You can go wire to wire in these races. I'm going to go to the 3-horse Mandela Match. Mandela Match is if you take out that last race, which again on dirt is sloppy dirt, and you go back to the turf efforts, this horse fits. If you go back 3 back, that specifically the Remington Park mile effort, that was as a 3-year-old. Since then we've improved. So the next 2 are actually improvement races. but was able to win at a mile, be able to hold the distance, go 1:36.2, pretty good time for a 3-year-old at that point. Now we're getting second off a layoff, working back to the turf, and you have clear speed here. And Lindsey Wade, who loves to send, and is one of the better jockeys there. Bueller's points for these type of races, so I like the fact that you have him ending up here as well. I think 15-1 is a crazy price on a horse that's going to make the lead, and there's not really a ton of other horses that want to press. And if Medela Match gets out, Medela Match can be really tough.
I went back and forth about I didn't use her, but she's just right on the outside, creeping in, and the speed angle is a big part of it. I ended up leaving off because I don't know if the 6 is going to press as well. That's a Munnings horse that likes to be more forwardly placed. You can look back at like Keeneland last year, tried going gate to wire there, tried doing it at Gulfstream Park in some stakes races. The horse we're not using, so the 6 I don't think is good enough to win this regardless, unless she somehow gets a loose lead. But to your point, Mike, if the 3 gets off to a loose lead, which could happen coming out of 3 straight sprint races here, didn't use, but definitely a 15-1, you're getting some value on that horse as well.
Yeah, I think really the thing that we're both not saying without saying, or saying without not saying here, is the 7 horse She Can't Sing, who is 5-2. Neither of us are using this horse. Do you want to talk about why you didn't use the 7?
The 7 She Can't Sing. I just changed off the PPs. You go first.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I don't really trust any of those fairground races, and that's the big thing. If you go back, there's not really any turf races that I could point to that say, yeah, I'm really scared of this horse. She looked okay in the 5.5 furlongs races, and then out of nowhere in those mile and 16th races looks great. Steps up to graded 3 company, mile and 8th, and gets blown out by Bleecker Street. Obviously, no shame there how well Bleecker Street ran a couple weekends ago. But I'm just not willing to lay the price you're going to have to lay, because She Can't Sing 5-2 is pipe dream. This horse is going off 6-5.
Yeah,
I'm not willing to lay that number with this horse, considering the only 2 efforts were at big prices against fields where I think she wildly outran her odds, and I haven't seen her do it anywhere but fairgrounds.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's the fairgrounds turf seems to be what she really loves. And if this was a fairgrounds, great use. But especially, Mike, you nailed it. The price. I looked at this and I was like 5-2 in a 12-horse field. You better be fantastic. You better look really great. Like Saranya or whatever, the 8-horse at 7-2. Yeah, I'm going to eat that short of a price, and you are too, because we think that she could be that good, and she seems like an improving Cox horse, whereas She Can't Sing, I feel like she's kind of about her ceiling, which is a great ceiling. If you owned her, the breeder, Lothenbach Stables, owns her. She's coming up on $500,000 in earnings. Great horse to own, but I'm with you. 5-2, don't want to bet her in this spot.
She's also going to be coming from the back without much pace in front of her, and she's going a mile, which she's 0-3 at. Like there's a bunch of other things that you can kind of start to nitpick if you want to, but to me, it's really the price and the fact that I don't think she's as good away from fairgrounds.
Well, Mike, last month when we did cover Canterbury Park and the preview for this night here, one of the horses that, despite all the things that happened with the rain and the turf, a dirt horse, a horse that ended up winning on the rained off, is going to be my next pick in this race, the Mystic Lake Mile Stakes. And I'm talking about the number 7, Tut's Revenge. Love this local horse, but I am going to go 3 deep here because I love him, but there's some good horses coming in to face him. Where are you going on top?
Oh, man, I went to the 6, Mr. Dumas on top. This is just one of those hard knockers. I feel like he's much older than 6. He's only 6, but, man, I feel like he's been around for just, 10 years already. He's gone a little bit everywhere. Last time he ran at Churchill. Time before that, he was at Keeneland. He ran at Turf Paradise. He's run at Colonial, run at Saratoga, run at Churchill. But I think this race sets up perfectly for him. He is that exact horse that has, at Canterbury, you can't be too far back, and he has got that tactical speed. So you're going to see him forwardly placed, but he doesn't need the lead. He can sit behind that first flight and then get first run. I think that's exact trip here. If I was not going to single the 9th race, I actually considered singling Mr. Dumas here. I thought that he was that good of a shot in this field. I think there's enough speed, and we'll get into that in a second, because that's a big time pick about some of these horses and whether or not they're going to be on the leader or not, specifically the one that you've highlighted right now.
Yes, I mean to do that. It's kind of funny how that happened. I went 2 deep here. Mr. Dumas also used him. He's hit the board in his last 6 starts. Missed by a neck and a Keeneland allowance, 2 back. That was pretty good. You like that he was a good third versus what I think would be tougher turf milers at Churchill Downs last out. And he also has won a Grade 3 stakes before, and that was when he was with John Ortiz. I know he got moved to Mike Maker because John Ortiz wasn't the trainer he is now. He was still kind of getting started, and so the owner said, let's send him to Mike Maker, see if we can get some wins, and they did. But back to Ortiz, this horse just seems like he always, like you said, he's going to try. You gotta love that Ray Lou's going to be in town to ride. I did use Tut's Revenge, like I said, was my top pick here. He won this race in 2020. He was 3rd in this race last year. He can win on dirt. He can win on turf. He is better on turf. I love that Harry Hernandez is staying aboard. We could talk about him before. This guy loves to win, and he loves to win these smaller tracks. So I'm going to roll with Tut's Revenge as my other horse.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a tougher version of last year's race, so I'm not going to use Tut's Revenge. I'm afraid that Tut's Revenge might take a little bit too much of money. I also think there's quite a bit of speed in here, which I think could negatively affect him, which is ironic because I'm going to go to the 9 Drama Course as my next horse up.
Balls out
because I
speed.
think Drama Course is the better speed than Tut's Revenge. And I think Drama Course can get out. Now, I don't love that we're set up to a little bit to the outside, but look, last time they faced each other, Drama Course drew outside, got to lead. Yes, I realized it was in the mud, but it was still at a mile distance, similar run to the first turn. Drama Course was able to clear, ends up getting beat by Tut's Revenge, but Drama Course is a much better horse on turf than dirt, whereas Tut's Revenge is about the same horse on turf than dirt, right? He's kind of just consistent like that. So I'm willing to kind of give that last one a pass. I'm going to use the 9 Drama Course as one of the main speeds. My next horse up was Spanish Kingdom, the 2 horse. This is a Joe Sharp horse that's coming out of that same Churchill race as Mr. Dumas, ran 4th in that race, where Mr. Dumas ran 3rd. But you've got second off the layoff here, 3rd time out as a 5-year-old. I love the 35-second work that we're coming off of for the Joe Sharp barn. I look, these Churchill Downs horses, and it was mentioned in the chat earlier, Dennis mentioned that these Churchill Downs horses are looking for races that are $100,000. They don't have turf for the rest of the month, so they've got to figure out where do we go. I think that's why you get a couple of them in here, but I do think they make a ton of sense in here, and I think it's one of the reasons this race is more difficult than what we saw last year. I love the 6-1 price. I like the fact that Biscuits is coming in for this race, and again, this is another one that is going to be able to sit a good trip and sit right behind the speed and then be able to make that move. So I like the 2 Spanish Kingdom quite a bit. I know you went 2 deep. I went 4 deep here, so I'm just going to keep rolling, and then we'll talk about the horse neither of us use. Give me the 8 at 12-1 gold. This one's a little funky. I admit this is a little. We're reaching a little more, but we're getting a nice price. And just hear me out here. This horse is best going a mile on the turf. Okay. This horse is significantly improved since switching from the D'Amato to the Diodoro barn. Shocker. Now we're going on a mile on the turf for the first time for the Diodoro barn. If this horse is able to rate, which we saw he could 2 back, and is able to go back to that turf form, but then show the same improvement that we've seen as this horse has gotten a little bit older and switched over to the Diodoro barn, all of a sudden, you have a horse that can compete with everybody in this race. You already have higher buyers in some cases, right? So I'm not worried about the top end number there. It's the how are we going to take to this turf, and then how well are we going to be able to, what price we're going to get. I think we're getting every bit of the 12-1. And I like, again, the fact that we got Wade up who knows this course well. So I think the 8 is really live at 12-1. So if you haven't noticed, I'm taking some swings here early because I like a horse in the 4th leg, and I feel like if we can get prices home and get around these first 2 favorites, it's a huge edge for the ticket overall. Now, we both chucked 2 Emmys. I'm on the record saying I don't think 2 Emmys is very good and kind of fluky. So I think everyone knows why I did. Do you want to talk a little bit about why you chucked 2 Emmys?
What the hell is he doing at a mile? This horse is just getting warmed up at a mile. I mean, the thing about horses like him, in my experience, Mike, when they're 1.5 mile types that can just keep running and running and running, is they don't have that killer kick when they need to. Like, they just can, you put them out front and they get into a rhythm, and then they just keep going and going and going. They're kind of like the Energizer Bunny, right? Whereas some horses, especially ones that don't necessarily go gate to wire, they like to sit and wait and wait. Those ones, when they have that turn of foot, that's great. When you're going 1.5 miles, that turn of foot really isn't as important. When you're going a mile, you really need that turn of foot because you've got a lot of sprinters stretching out, or horses that should be sprinters that are going to challenge him early. And when he gets pressed early, we've seen it, that he just kind of fades. You remember Cavalry Charge in the Grade 3 Fairgrounds was the most frustrating thing ever because the 2 of them went head-to-head together. And for whatever reason, Cavalry Charge the shitty 40-1 horses who stayed on, and 2 Emmys quit. So I just can't trust him at a mile. I really don't understand, other than like they're looking for a place to run him, I don't understand why he's here.
Yeah, I mean, you go through his past performances, and one time was he able to stalk and win. That was 1.8 miles at the fairgrounds. 1.8 miles is a much better distance than a mile for 2 Emmys. There's zero chance he makes the lead. He's just not fast enough. I mean, you see his speed. It's all 1.5 mile races, 1.8 miles, 1.25 mile races, longer races on the program. And when he does make the lead, going like 1 mile and 16th and goes 23:48, he can't win. If he goes 23:48 in this race, he may win, but he's not going to, like, you have multiple horses that want to go 22, high 22s, 46s, right? Mm-hmm. If he tries to run that, he's done. If he tries to chase that, you mentioned it, he doesn't have the turn of foot to get by. Like, and then do you really want like I'd rather have the horses that are trying to run him down, like Mr. Dumas and Spanish Kingdom, than him, even if he makes the lead at the top of the stretch, because I don't trust him to be able to hold them off going 23:46 for a mile.
Well, you know what? Things are going to be really hot in Minnesota because it's like 99 degrees today. I looked at the weather because we had some turf races and MTOs. No rain, which is good. But things are going to, if they're not already hot, they're going to get even hotter here this next leg, the Mystic Lake Derby, Mike. You've got a ton of speed signed on in here. And you and I think, like the best of the speed horses here. But one thing I will tell you, unlike last year when I wanted to use King of Miami and you convinced me not to and he won the race, I'm not letting you change my mind in this race. So where are you going on top?
I'm going to go with the 6, Dowagic Chief. I mean, I'm picking some terrible names here. Look, you mentioned it. This is the speed of the speed, right? And if you go back to the races where you are facing this level of company, no knock on the rest, but like Tiz the Bomb is a good synthetic horse, right? Stolen base, good on turf, and tried to face better horses in grade 2 and grade 3 company and just wasn't able to handle it. You saw the same thing in the grade 2 Berman at Keeneland. Faces Tiz the Bomb, stolen base, gets blown out. Okay, that's fine. If you go to like the $50,000 N1X allowance, you even go to the Texas Turf Mile, if you go to the Black Gold 75K Stakes, that's where he fits. That's what we're back to here. That's why I think this horse fits really well. Raylu gets the ride. Amos coming in. This horse is going to be ready to roll. It's going to go straight to the front. I don't think anyone is as fast as him. And if he doesn't take any pressure, and really the only horse when I was scrolling through this, I was like, okay, well, who can really put the pressure on him? I mean, you got a couple horses to the inside that are fast. I mean, the 4 horse, honestly, coming out of sprints is probably your biggest threat. I mean, some people will point to the 8 Stitch, just another one of the favorites, but Stitch is saying the pace going 25.50 the last 2 races. He's not fast. He inherited the pace, right? So this one is one of those spots where I don't think there's any way that Raylu doesn't send the 6. I think the 6 clears by the turn and then kind of controls the pace. This is one where you could see that 22-4, 46-2, right? Where it's almost a 24-second quarter, and that's the breather the 60s to try and get it home.
I want to meet the owner, Michael McLaughlin, someday because I am positive that he is from Michigan. Dowagiac is a town in Michigan, and they are the Chiefs. That is their high school mascot. So the Chieftains specifically, but that's a boring name. Dowagiac Chieftain? No. Dowagiac Chief, yeah. This was my top pick in this race. You outlined everything as well. Remember also the grade 2 American Turf. Not only is this a huge class relief for him, he's on the lead, and you did not want to be on the lead at Churchill that whole weekend, and that turf course is shit. So forgive him for that. Also, he was less than a length behind the Kentucky Derby winner in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. You forgot that. This is a huge class relief for him to not have to face the Kentucky Derby winner.
Oh, don't even start with Kentucky Derby winner bullshit.
Hey,
I mean, you're factually correct. It's just yeah.
Listen, we talked about Mac Robertson last race, and he's got 2 Emmys. By the way, I just read something. 2 Emmys is going to scratch because they went, oh, it's a mile race. Why are we doing this? So thanks for that, 2 Emmys. Anyways.
Not surprised. Mac Robertson doesn't change the handicap.
Doesn't change anything. Nope.
Just means that we won't get it better. I thought we would have gotten better prices on horses if that guy was in there.
He is a grade 1 winner somehow. Listen, the other horse I'm going to use is for Mac Robertson, and he's got 3 of them in here, but I only like one of them. That's the 9, Xavier Dave, the Minnesota bred. That Fairgrounds win 2 back was as a long shot, but it was a very good-looking win, and backed it up last time out, I thought, because it was better than it looked on paper. If you watch thank you, Dr. Ting. He says the 9 is possible. I hope so. Last time out, the runner-up horse, which was a filly, off the turn, just slammed right into him when he was trying to make a move. I don't think he was going to win that race. The horse that won, Tommy B, shows up in a lot of past performances here, but he got taken off stride and still kept trying. He got knocked way behind and still kept churning in the stretch at a track where the competition was going to be harder than if this was, say, the same class level at Canterbury. Cuts back to a mile. He's never tried this before, but he did win at a mile and 16th on grass, so the mile should be well within his range here. But, again, Mac Robertson's got 3, and I'm only using 1 of them. Is that a bad idea?
No, because this is the best one. I mean, this was my 3rd horse. I ended up going 2 deep here, so I didn't get to the 9, Xavier Dave, but you made a bunch of good points. I also love the fact if you go back and you look at the 2-year-old season, Robertson decides, okay, I'm going to put this horse out in a maiden special weight. The horse wins right into 100K Stakes Company, then sends it straight to Keeneland to the turf. So thinks a lot of this horse, kind of tips his hand right there of what he thinks of this horse. I don't hate the use. I'm popping the all button in the last race, which means I'm limited after spreading in the first 2. And I like the 10 horse Heaven Street more. To me, this is just a horse coming in that is facing significantly weaker here. Fort Washington, not just the 2 back where he won, but also in that last race, a very good horse. You're going to the Brennan Walsh barn from the Clement barn. Clement's very good in New York, but I like the move to the Walsh barn. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. if this horse is able to get the trip, which I think he will, I think Heaven Street's going to be sitting right behind the speed and get first run at the leaders. I wouldn't be shocked if Heaven Street's able to open up on him with just a little bit of improvement here. So I'm going to just go 6-8 here, and hopefully that gets it done.
6-10, you mean?
Or 6-10 here, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
6-10.
yeah, no, that's right. The 10 horse, I looked at him. I think what ultimately led to me leaving him off is I don't know that I love that post position for going a mile. But that's burned me before at pretty much every track. I think I've said that. So take that with a grain of salt. I'll just say that right now. But yeah, I did like the 10. You got Castellano, a Hall of Fame jockey, who's coming to Canterbury tonight to ride. So that's not something to take lightly. He's not going to just show up and take every mount that he can get. He's going to go to where he thinks he could win. We didn't really talk about why we left off Stitch. Do you want to bring that up real quick, the 8 horse? Other than, well, no, you did. I'm sorry. I agreed with you that we said Dowagiac Chief is faster and Stitched inherited leads going, over 20. Look at when he broke the maiden, 26-1, 50 flat. I mean,
the 6 is just a better
last.
The 6 is a better version of the 8, right? I mean, we talked about it a little like with the hockey playoffs. The worst thing you can do is face a better version of yourself. Because makes it like your strengths are their strengths, but your strengths are not as strong as theirs. So like, what are you supposed to do here, right? And his strength is speed and getting in front and keep going. Well, he's not going to be able to do that. So then the question is, are you better than someone who is than the other horse when they turn it around? You have to rally from the back. I don't see how Stitch is able to do that. I also have no interest in this horse at this price. I mean, if 5-2 is the actual price on Stitch, I would lay that for someone because I don't see how this horse is 5-2 in this field.
Well, a horse that you won't get anything close to 5-2, or even this 2-1 morning his 2-1 morning line price. That's the 4 Devoted to You is the 2-1 morning line choice in the penultimate leg of the late pick 5 here, race 9. We fall right off the cliff. We got 3 great turf stakes races, and then now we're down to non-winners of 2 lifetime Minnesota breds in for $15,000 tags. And by the way, horses that don't like to win that often. Where are you going?
Yeah, so of course I'm going to single here. In the race where horses don't like to win that often. Look, Devoted to You is the best horse in this race. And you can dig and you can try and find ways to poke holes in it. Yeah, the last race was a little that wasn't quite what you would hope for from Devoted to You. But look, this is the best horse. And now you're getting second off the layoff for a trainer that's very good second off the layoff. You're getting one of the best trainers, one of the best jockeys at the meet. Everything lines up for this horse. You've got speed to its inside, clearly that kind of likes to fade. You've got Devoted to You who wants to sit in second and rally. Everything sets up for the 4 to be able to just absolutely roll in here. And so I'm not going to try and get too creative and be like, okay, I'm going to try and pick that wild 10-1 shot that is just doesn't make any sense. I'd rather structure the ticket where I can beat horses early I like, and I'm going to play the favorite I like here because I think you kind of have to eat the chalk in this race.
Boy, it's taken this long for somebody to pick up. Yes, I love the word penultimate. I love to throw that in. There's actually
it's almost every week.
There's a reason for that. There's a commentator who I love for years and years, and penultimate was always a word that he used. So it's just stuck in my head. I went 3 deep here. I did use the 4 Devoted to You, but it was a defensive use because you're right. This is the best horse in the field, but as well as he runs at Canterbury, never off the board in 6 starts. He's got 4 seconds, and it starts to be a case where I'm like at 2-1, and he's going to be probably sub even money, 6-5, something like that in this spot. I just don't want to trust him when I think that he's a little camera shy. So you do have a great jockey. Luis Fuentes, younger brother of Ruben, is 24% so far this meet, 27% for a very high percentage barn, the Burnt Barn here. So it's second off the bench, back on fast dirt, all good angles. My top pick, I'm going with Ruben, and it's not just because Ruben's riding, but the 6 Mark of Valor is going to be my top pick at 15-1. That race last out when he broke his maiden. Yes, he was down to maiden 7,500, but that's kind of what the level before this is, right? $7,500 maidens, you win, you go to 15K non-winners of 2 lifetime. The horse broke very strongly out of the gate and never looked back, and that is something that Ruben Fuentes has been very good at. When he gets a horse to break cleanly and get to the lead, that horse has always got a fighting chance. Valerie Lund, the trainer, hits at 14% with Ruben with a very nice ROI at Canterbury, I think $2.28. She liked this horse so much that she debuted him in a Minnesota bred stakes. And okay, that was a bad idea. It didn't go well at all. But they kept trying to main special weights until finally dropping for a tag last out. So I think this horse has got a lot more talent than, say, a normal $7,500 maiden claiming win would have. But I also like that was a 3-year-old that beat all older horses in that race to get it done. So it's a bit of a flyer, but I'm getting a great price. And if he breaks cleanly, Mark of Valor could go gate to wire here.
I mean, he's not as fast as the 3, so there's a problem there with your gate to wire argument. That race was run at 113-4. that is slow. that's not fast. He came home in 14 seconds. Like it wasn't that. I understand where you're coming from, where they thought this horse was good, but if you think this horse is good, you don't drop from maiden special weight to the lowest level of state bred in the state that you're trying to race in.
I mean, who's going to claim this horse, really?
Well, that doesn't exactly make me think that they thought it was good, because at some point they would have said something if they thought this horse was good. So I'm like, oh, 75K, yeah, or 7,500, yeah, man, I'll take that. I'll take a flyer.
The horse also struggled to change his leads, and everybody who's been to the track with me knows I hate when a horse doesn't change his leads on the lead. In this top of the stretch, if you don't change your leads, that's one thing you'll hear me screaming. Anyways, I went 3 deep. I'll go real quick. The last one I used was all the way to the outside. Gone a little woohoo. Broke maiden over the course and distance for, guess what? 7.5K claiming tag against Minnesota breds. There's like a little theme here with the horses I like. I think this horse has been competitive at this level, because you see after that, the next start out after breaking the maiden was still in contention. Ends up finishing second, and then you actually stepped up to be protected. Optional claimer, misses by less than a length. Some pretty decent trips there. Now we're getting Sofia Barandella, who's a bug jockey, and she's going to give this horse a 5-pound break. I also like that this horse, unlike the other 7 pretty much, likes to pass horses. You can look at the form and go, okay, yeah, to break the maiden, had to pass horses next out, had to pass horses next out, had to pass horses. The 2 levels after that, either the horse wasn't ready or wasn't staying on top, or whatever happened, kind of fell off. But this level, Mike, you taught me this. You kind of have to sometimes reach back and see if you can find a past performance to pull out and get the job done. I'm going to go with this horse because he likes to pass, because we're getting the bug weight with the 5 pounds. But again, you like the 4. I think that's the best single of this entire sequence is the 4 in this spot, probably.
Yeah, look, the state's interesting because the 8 has the highest buyer of any horse in this field, 65, right? So you immediately have something you can point back to. It was going 6 furlongs, going at Canterbury. To me, this is a trainer problem, right? By the way, the other argument you didn't make for the 8 won first off the layoff last year as well. Yep. And this is first off the layoff. So it has the ability to win first off the layoff with a 3% trainer, with a shitty trainer, won first off the layoff. So, but this, you literally have a trainer that's never trained a horse, right? This was a homebred horse. So it kind of feels like a pet to me a little bit, especially with the other trainer that they had. And now you got a bug jockey riding it. I couldn't get there because of all the different adages of it, but I like the 8 significantly more than I like your use of the 6.
Can we talk about the 3 real quick? We didn't use this one, but Nick is bringing up the 3. A couple of people have West of Waverly. Why didn't you use the 3?
The 3 doesn't like to hold on, and I thought that there was enough speed in here to affect the 3. I misspoke. The 3 actually has the best buyers if you go all the way back, but those were 4.5 and 5 furlongs. Going 6 furlongs, this horse is 0 for 5. That's a problem when it's a speed horse that just doesn't want to hang on, especially when I don't think Devoted to You wants to lead. I think Devoted to You wants to sit right behind the lead and be able to pass 1 or 2 horses. That's when you've seen the best races from Devoted to You. You're going to get that exact scenario where the 3 goes, the 6 is going to try and go with the 3 or won't even be fast enough to get around the 4. Either way, the 4 sits the perfect trip in this spot. And there's just not that many other horses that I'm scared of. I mean, you look at the 1 horse and you're like, okay, there's some speed there, but I don't see how Kelsey R is going to be able to get that horse to get the job done. Mm-mm. You have that race where you break your maiden at the 35,000 on maiden claiming level, where you kind of were in the 2 post and you were able to get a nice trip. And the 1, I think you could make a case for your second off the layoff as a 5-year-old if you wanted to say this horse could improve. But to me, when I look at the 3, it's like, okay, I kind of know what this horse is. The counter argument, this is a massive drop for the 3. It's the first time we're going to be running against claimers, and that is an angle that a lot of people love. Speed versus worse, generally a good thing. The problem is I don't think that the 3 can hold, and I think you're going to see someone get this horse. I think it's either going to be the 4, the 1, the 2, or the 8. But I think the 4 is by far the most likely.
I passed on the 3 because supposedly when Mac Robertson called Lindy Wade's agent and says, like, hey, we want to run you back in this 15 claimer on 2 lifetime Minnesota bred race on Northern Stars Racing Festival night. Lindy Wade's jockey agent said, new phone, who dis? Bye-bye. And said, so that's why I said that. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, the 3, lots of great points from you, from the chat. To me, this horse just quits too hard, and I can't use. But at such a short price, but that's the fun of these races, right? We got one more to go, Mike. The final leg, not the penultimate, but the ultimate leg of the late pick 5 at Canterbury Park.
I don't think this race is not considered good. This should not be called the ultimate of anything, this race. This is ridiculous.
The ultimate catastrophe, or the ultimate all button if you're Mike Somich. Race 10, 7 fillies and mares, 3 and up, going 6.5 furlongs on the dirt. Non-winners of 3 lifetime are in for 10K tags. Unless you're the 5, speedy enough, you're Minnesota bred, you get to be in for 15K. End us on a high note, Mike.
I mean, I would put the 5 on top here, but I just smashed the all button because not only is this a shitty race, they made it 6.5. And that to me is like the ultimate middle finger to the horse players here to close this out, because no, these horses don't want to go 6.5. They like good horses want to go 6.5, not shitty claiming level horses. So this was one of those that I thought was just a wildly tough race. A lot of people are going to point to the 7, outwork the Okie girl. The horse makes a ton of sense. It's going to try and go to the lead, but broke its maiden going 5.5 furlongs. Last time out, quit badly going 5.5 furlongs. We got to get an extra furlong here. Like, it's just, to me, 2 to 1 is an awful price on the 7. So I'm not really excited about that horse. And then I look at the 2 horse here, and I just don't trust the 2 horse even a little bit. And so if I don't trust the 2 and I don't trust the 7, I don't have a big opinion, smash the all button and let's see if we can get a price home.
I don't hate it. If I had reworked my ticket structure a little differently, I got to this leg and I was like, I'm not going to do it, but I could totally see somebody hitting the all button here, and just especially with the last leg, when if that's the right ticket structure way and you can end it that way, it's nice because if you're alive to it, you really just got to survive 4 legs and then just enjoy the 5th one there. I went 3 deep here, but this is a mess. I did put Outwork the Okie Girl on top. I think she's the fastest horse on paper. That race last time at Canterbury, I went and looked at the pace setup. She has a time form early pace rating of 84. She's the only one in this field that's anywhere in the 80s. That last race, she was one of 4 horses with the time form early pace in the 80s. So to me, that wasn't a great setup for her. This is a much better setup, kind of like when she broke her maiden in for the $7,500 tag against Oklahoma Breds. Will Rogers down.
She went 46-3 going 5.5 furlongs. You can hold off a field going 46-3 for 5.5 furlongs. That is crawling for that
especially
distance.
In the slop. Yeah, no, listen, This is not a good, you outlined it well. These are all bad horses. None of these horses seem to want to go 6.5. I thought that was a great way to outline as well. I'm going to use the 4, Milligan, Mike, and Me as my second choice. The horse, at Canterbury, the class drop, which was it last out? I'm not sure. Was it cutting back to 1 turn again, even though the Arkansas bred completely shit the brick on the debut there. Got a career best buyer going 6 furlongs over this track. I'm going to hope that we can continue to improve and do better at this distance. Was far ahead of Speedy Enough, who was a 4 to 1 price here, and I like this horse better. So I used there. I also did use the 2 temporarily at 3 to 1. 1 over the course and distance last out, just like the 4. Doesn't take a huge step up. This is the logical next place to go. You win for open 10K. Now you stay at open 10K. A Daughter of Union Rags out of Distorted Humor. This is the one that I think can probably go the distance the best out of these horses, since none of them have proven they can do it. Well, I take that back. The 1 did break her maiden at this, but got a 20 buyer. So do we really want to count that so much? She's also 7 years old and has raced 5 times. You want to talk about pets? Holy, this is the same. It's the same connections as the last pet. God, all right, I'm gonna take that horse off my ticket. That was.
You know what? You know what else is funny?
I'm taking that horse off right now.
Sue Willie, the 1 horse, the trainer that left for the George Smith trainer.
Yeah.
Sue Willie and George Smith co-own the 1 horse.
Yeah.
So there is clearly a direct connection between those 2. I don't. If anyone from Canterbury knows that information, but they have to either be their partners, they're married, something's going on there. And they're all pets, and they're both trainers, and they just pass the ones back and forth, because that cannot be a coincidence.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and last race, I'm taking that 8 horse off, because I just realized it's the same setup is happening, and I really hate it here. Oh, this was a bad idea. So I am going to use the 2 temporarily, though, like I mentioned. So 2, 4, 7 for me in this leg to try and get out.
Yeah, if I didn't hit the all button here, and if you wanted to spread a little bit more in the last leg, I would have gone 1, 4, 2 in the last leg. And if you like, my actual opinion here was the 6, who I think it's interesting that you saw this horse run a mile, get claimed at Turfway, mile at Canterbury, get claimed there. Then we go down to 6.5 furlongs, running a $31,000 allowance. It was an absolute pipe dream. That horse is never competing there ever. Now we get back down to the 10K, and we get back down to the 6.5, where this horse face Santa Anita horses going 6.5 furlongs. Like, I think that the 6 does make some sense here if you want to get aggressive. I agree with the 4 horse. I think that the fact that this 4 horse, the cutback, was really what helped, going from those mile and 16th races down to 6 furlongs. I think the extra half furlong will help this horse, a little more stamina. So the 6 and the 4 were the 2 that I felt were interesting. The 5 would have been the other one I used here. So if you don't want to pop the all button, you don't want a single last race, you just go 1, 2, 4 last race, and what was that? 4, 5, 6, or Yeah, 4, 5, 6 here.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining Mike and I on Mr. Somich's birthday to go through the Canterbury Park late pick 5 on Wednesday, June 22nd. Remember, 10% low takeout for the pick 5 at Canterbury. That's why we did it. It's also just a fun track. You can get good prices. It seems pretty fair as far as the way the track plays and everything. So if you are going to play, if you want to know where our tickets are, take a look down below. We've got them right here. Mike, I'll start. I'm going to go 258 with 67 with 69. Nice. With 346 instead of 468. I'm going 346 in that spot. And then I'm going to end going 247 for $54.
I'm going to play a 50-cent ticket. I'm going to spend a little bit more money. I'm going to go with an $84 ticket. And I'm going to start out with the 358. Then I'll go 2689 with 610 with 4 and slam the all button at the end. And if you want to be smarter than us, you can play the all stakes turf pick 5, which is race 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. 3 of the races we covered on here. 3 and 4 are the first two stakes races on the card. Also 10% takeout. So a very good bet as well. And you don't have to deal with the last 2 races like we do, even though single all button, maybe it could pay off. You never know.
It could work out. It's only 7 horses in that last leg too, so it's not like you're going all in the opener where it's 12 horses there. Mike, I know we got a few minutes left here. You've got dinner reservations tonight for your birthday. So from this past weekend, first off, tip of the cap to you. You correctly picked Mind Control to upset Hot Rod Charlie in the Salvatore Mile Stakes at Monmouth Park, but kind of an interesting weekend overall. Your overall thoughts on Haskell Day, the preview day that we talked about before we dive into the races?
Yeah, so let's start out with Hot Rod Charlie. We talked about it on this show. Hot Rod Charlie wasn't fully cranked for that race. Okay, he was going a mile, not a longer distance. It was first back, and guess what? Right out of the race, they go. He probably could have run better. We're going to the Whitney. Okay, so they're going to that longer race. He wasn't fully cranked. That's why Mind Control was able to beat him. That's why a lot of times we talk about trying to fade these horses that are going to be way over bet in spots that's logical. That's not the goal, right? The goal was not to win on Haskell Prep Day, right? The goal is to win the Whitney. That's what they were shooting for. That's where they're going to go next. Make sure you're looking at things like that when it's those big time horses, especially first time coming back. What was it? Home base ran and he's going to head to the Haskell now. I think that was one of the more impressive performances that we saw. Able to make that monster move around the turn. I'm not sure what he beat. The Haskell will be significantly more difficult, but I do think that that's at least going to be an interesting horse coming back in the Haskell. You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Sorry, I was coughing a lot. I didn't want to do that. Listen, I made it the whole show without doing that until now.
I tried to unmute you, actually. I even went for it. I
appreciate it. This is a good podcast partner right here. Is even on your birthday, you're trying to help me out. A couple things of note. Major Dude won as a 2-year-old Saratoga Slim. If you've been watching the backside vlogs, Major Dude was a horse in the Todd Pletcher barn that Saratoga Slim saw. I was like, I think this horse could be a good sprinter, could win on debut, and he did. So didn't get a good buyer, but did get the win, and Pletcher was pretty happy with that. He's going to the what's the early Saratoga 2-year-old? It's not the Schuylerville because that's Phillies.
Spinaway?
No, that's also Phillies. I don't know. He's going to a stakes at Saratoga, whatever the early 2-year-old one is.
And then try to get to the hopeful. I know the hopeful. I remember that one.
Did she must have raced on Sunday. Todd Pletcher had. Did you see this? He had a 2-year-old filly with Munnings Gold. Got a 101 buyer for a 2-year-old debut in June at Monmouth.
That's not a great thing. Okay, let's talk about the last 101 buyers are like hidden stash, and like we need one of these horses to break out of that mold.
Jack Christopher and Jackie's Warrior were the last 2-year-olds to get 100+ buyers.
Were they?
I think so. No, I don't know. I need to reread that article. I read it and I couldn't believe it. I'm also still hopped up on. Let's go back a little bit earlier though. The pick 4 started with the Eatontown, and we both were against Porque No because we were like, this is a speed and quit horse. Well, when the speed and quit horse quit and didn't show up, Stolen Holiday just went gate to wire. We had the wrong Shug horse. I loved Vigilante's Way, the defending champion, but I mean, you had the gate to wire winner here. What are you gonna do?
I mean, I have a serious issue with Alms. Why the hell was Alms in last place at the top of the stretch?
Jersey
made absolutely no sense. Like it's a forwardly placed speed horse. It's one of the reasons I used the horse in the freaking race. And thank you for all the birthday wishes, by the way, guys. I appreciate it. What are we doing, Alms? What are we doing? And this is the freaking leg that busts the pick 4 for me too. It's pretty frustrating because I like Vigilante's Way as well. Wasn't able to get the job done. Couldn't run down the stablemate, but you kind of felt like, oh shit, when the first turn and you see, okay, we've got a Shug horse in front of a Shug horse. They're not going to press each other. And like it's Stolen Holiday going to be able to get by and just couldn't. Happily faded both of the brown horses. They were not the play in this spot. Glad that they took some money. Pissed that we couldn't get this pick 4 home because of this race, though.
I want to ask Nick here in the chat. Nick's, and I'm not doing this to rub salt in the wound, Nick. He said, Lascano killed me this weekend. Stolen Holiday beat him, and then also that 40-1 that we talked about, the $5 pick 5 that knocked him out. Who was more frustrating for you, Nick? Was it Jose Lascano or was it Mike Smith? Because Mike Smith shit the bed on Princess Grace in this race, and Mike Smith did not ride Hot Rod Charlie to a victory. And I'm just going to say, listen, Hot Rod Charlie probably got him beaten. Mike Smith is not the Mike Smith he used to be. Mike Smith at this point is starting to become a detriment for me for a lot of these races. Dr. Tang, don't get me started about Lascano. Don't worry, we'll move on, buddy. And by the way, Dr. Tang,
that Lascano race was so damn frustrating. I don't know if you had the 1 or not, Nick. I was heavy on the doubles with the 1 through to the next race, and that one horse led the entire damn time and got caught late in the stretch. It was very frustrating. Anyway.
Homebrew, you mentioned winning the Pegasus Stakes as a 97 buyer. It was a very impressive effort. He stalked, he pounced when Paco steered him. He looked very push button. That was the best. Yeah. I watched a lot of his replays before the Pegasus. That was the best he's looked easily. So look out. Yeah, I think you were right last show, Mike, when you said he could definitely probably get second or third in the Haskell. I don't know if he's beating all those horses, but second or third looks really good for him.
Well, the question was who's out of this who could actually make an impact, and it was clearly Homebrew, right? Like the upside of this horse is higher than the upside of anyone else in here. I don't think neither of us were high on electability. Thought he ran okay, broke through the gate before the start, which is something I think you have to at least mention and definitely affected him in the race. I thought Homebrew was just kind of turning his feet for a little bit there. And then all of a sudden, when he got asked, he just spurted away from this field. Basically, they went 12s the entire time, so good enough time. A little slower than that, but pretty good time from that perspective. And Homebrew did exactly what he was asked to do. So I think this is a good step forward into the Haskell. The waters are about to get a lot deeper, so we'll see how that sets up. But he's a nice horse that can sit just off the pace and pounce, and that's often a very good thing. And sometimes you get those races that just heat up, and it'll set up well for him.
The 4 electability, the 1 Cyber Viking. Play them back when they go back to 1 turn. Cyber Viking was my other pick in this race. I say he could probably go get to wire, and he tried, but he's definitely a sprinter based off of his pedigree. So watch him going back to sprints. And electability, we thought this is not a great horse. You look where Chad had spotted him consistently, kind of like why we didn't love the Chad horses earlier in the Eatontown Stakes. So a decent horse when he gets back to 1 turn, but races like this don't play electability. The Monmouth Stakes, this will be the last one, and this is where Fading Chad finally bit us, Mike. Sacred Life got the job done. Public Scepter scratched and ended up running at Belmont Park. Got second or third in the poker to Mason. I don't know. From this race, it was a good effort from Sacred Life, but this is a Monmouth Park Grade 3. Like, you can't really take a lot from this race, Mike, and go to other tracks to, like, Saratoga and say, okay, based off of this, now we know what he'll do at Saratoga.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know what to say about Sacred Life. If this horse is sub 5-1 in a Saratoga field, don't play him. Like, that's really the bottom line, right? You got to demand value with Sacred Life. Yes, he can beat a Grade 3 at Monmouth, but a Grade 3 at Saratoga is significantly deeper than this. You know, when we're excited about this time and safe conduct, that tells you how good the overall field was. This is one of those where you're like, okay, he won a race he was supposed to win. That's good, but in races he's not supposed to win, is he someone you expect to win? And that's not the case for me.
Wow. Nick, Jose Lascano just really did kill you. He said I had a huge double to the 7 in this race from Homebrew, and the 7 ridden by Jose Lascano. He had 7-1. That was probably exciting. Listen, if you had 58-1 Epic Bromance off the top, you probably were feeling pretty good there for a second. For a minute, he looked like he might be home. But the Salvatore Mile, we talked about it. Mind Control now has battled back inside Gamely to win 2 Dirt Mile Stakes. And remember that he also was headed to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile after winning the Parks Dirt Mile, and he just got sick and couldn't make it there. But Pletcher seems to have this horse going well. John Velasquez never panicked, and Mike Smith, not so good anymore, maybe. This wasn't Mike Smith's fault, but...
No, I mean, look, the horse on the inside was better. I think that's on this day. Like, I'm not going to say Mind Control is a better horse than Hot Rod Charlie, but considering how tuned up they were for this, the distance they were going, the Mind Control is a better horse on that day, and that kind of tells you it is what it is. And Dennis makes a good point about the sequence. You get Homebrew, you get an even money shot, and look at the pick 4 payouts. If you scroll down a little bit, it's still a darn good pick 4, and all you had to do was really say, okay, I'm going to take the second choice. And I'm going to fade Hot Rod Charlie. I mean, it's not like Mind Control is a difficult horse to get to here. If you go too deep, he's probably the most logical second horse you're going to use, right? So, or you just throw Hot Rod Charlie out and he's actually a single. So, like, it's this sequence actually paid pretty decently considering, and it's really because Hot Rod Charlie lost. And that's, again, why you got to look at some of these horses that are such short prices, and they're doing something that they're not best at, and they're coming back. It's a good spot to fade.
Shrill Spite, last point, Shrill Spite. Hit the board. So you got your grade 1 black type on dirt, Charles Fipke. That was the whole point of this horse even being in there. Well, they really wanted to win, but got the grade 1 black type on dirt. So good job. Go back to turf and Woodbine.
Yeah, unfortunately, $1 million didn't rain on my head either. So
I know we were waiting for that one. We were ready for that one. Mike, listen, we'll let you get out of here. I know it's your birthday, and I'm going to probably go take another rest. But it was a great show. Thank everybody for joining us. If you haven't yet, please like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/racingdudes. Mike, big weekend coming up. Our 3-year anniversary of the Magic Mike Show is this weekend.
Oh,
the Ohio. Well, no, I'm sorry. Next Monday will be officially the 3-year anniversary show because the Ohio Derby recap is the first show we ever did. Lone Rock losing to Axelrod. That's the Ohio
Axelrod, baby.
Yeah.
We picked that one. That was back when they were Pod Wars.
You picked them. I didn't. You picked them.
Just trying to give us credit. Back when they were Pod Wars and we were picking every race. That was kind of fun. It's funny how Aaron and Jared just shy away from that now. They're scared of us.
Well, yeah, because they see your ROI. That's why.
I'm looking forward to having 3 years in the books. It's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy. I was talking to someone about this, and like being at 383 is just wild the way it started with 1. So it's pretty awesome. We're gonna hit the 3-year mark. Although, I mean, are we gonna review the Ohio Derby? Is that gonna be the plan?
It's the tradition. We have to.
Okay.
Well, if you looked at the weekend slates, actually, Belmont Park, we're going to need to go to Belmont this weekend because the Wild Applause Stakes, we've got our girl, Oakhurst, is going to be at the Wild Applause, and it sounds like that race is coming up harder than the race that she had to miss because of her illness. So we'll be doing that, but make sure you check that out. Mike is going to be doing the full preview. Well, we'll do the full preview, and we'll post it from the show. That's what we'll do for Wild Applause. But thank you so much for joining us. Like the video if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Visit racenews.com for all your free picks and analysis. And if you haven't yet, follow us on Twitter. I'm at Chris Kalleward, and the birthday boy at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8. Send him a birthday message as he heads off to dinner. And then, of course, follow the Corporate Overlords at racing_dudes. Dudes who bet. Dennis, I know you asked about this. They will be back live today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. And Mike, congratulations on your Colorado Avalanche pick. So far, seems to be doing well. Should I send you the bottle of tequila now for your birthday, or do you want to wait till it's official?
We can wait till it's official because the series doesn't start until you win one on the road in the NHL. That is the old adage, and we've seen that happen a couple times already here in this. So tonight and tomorrow, or tonight and 2 nights from now, are huge for Tampa. They have to win both of these. I think it's most likely going to go back 3-1, and I still think this is Colorado in 5. But I sprinkled a little on Tampa first period tonight because I think this is going to be, they're going to come out with their hair on fire, and so I would expect to see their absolute best effort. I don't hate the idea of betting tonight going to overtime because I think that Colorado is going to be able to fight back and weather that storm, and it's highly likely it'll be a close game late. I'm dabbling, and I'm going to play. I played Tampa first period. I'm going to play Colorado -1.5 because you can get a monster plus. I'm talking like 240s are out there, 250s are out there.
Holy cow.
And I'll play -1.5 again in game 4. And if I think they split and they win one of those by 2, I make a ton of money, right? So I'm playing a half unit on both of those. So hopefully they split and I get one of the -1.5s home. And then I got a couple other things we're dabbling in. But really, I'm still I want this series, man. If they win in 5 or 6, I will be a very happy camper.
If you missed it last week, I think probably on Monday's show last week, Mike and I did a little friendly wager on a bottle of tequila that he likes that isn't going to break my bank when I lose the bet because I did pick Tampa to 3-peat. And Colorado just has looked. I haven't watched every minute of every game, but what I've seen, it's just incredible. I mean, Darren Helm is out there looking like himself from 15 years ago on the Red Wings. That's how good the Habs are looking right now.
I've watched hockey since I was a wee tyke, right? I'm 39 today. So I've watched hockey for probably 35 years and then seriously watched it for about 30 since I was about 9 or 10 and I started playing. This is the most aggressive, activating defensive crew I've seen from any team, and they're so effective on the Colorado side. What they are able to do, getting the puck from defense to offense, skating it up through, and then joining the play. You see them leading the rush. They were leading 2-on-1s. Makar scored shorthanded leading a 2-on-1 rush. That's wild when you look back at that. There's no other defense that activates that much and that effectively while skating. And it's just been, you don't know what hits you when it happens. And if you go back to that St. Louis series, we didn't know what hit us when it happened. And this game 3 was the one we won 4-1. If Binnington didn't go out, I don't know that the series would have not, they would have been close because we did adjust. And you can adjust to it, but it's so hard because they are so fast. And I'm just not sure. I think St. Louis is more skilled than Tampa and faster than Tampa. We had some younger lines that were able to run with them. Tampa doesn't. And that's tough, man, because if you can't keep up with them, it's just rush after rush after rush after rush. And there's a ton of high talent scorers on that ice. So it's tough to compete with them, man. It's brutal.
Well, make sure you follow us on Twitter. You'll get all of Mike's thoughts. And again, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Thank you for the support as we're nearing 3 years. That's Mike brought up. It's really incredible to think about. We love each and every one of you, even the ones that like to give us some shit sometimes. It's good to be kept in our place, so we appreciate you. Until Thursday when we've got the Belmont Stakes late pick 4, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Enjoy your birthday dinner, buddy. It's been a pleasure. We'll see everybody next time.
Go Avs.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,